We're still with Excel basics and focused on Excel 365, or you can call it Excel 2019, Excel 2020, Excel 21. When you open the Excel 2019, that's what you see as a welcome screen. So if we step one step backward, how to open Excel, you go to your start menu and you start typing Excel. Then you will be able to find the Excel icon, or you search for it manually using the mouse and scrolling bar, and you'll be able to locate your Excel shortcut and being able to open the app or the program in this case. And in the same time, you can always ask Cortana in your Windows 10 to open Excel for you if you're using Windows, and you can ask Siri on the Mac OS to open the Excel for you. So that's the home screen. You can see there's the home tab, there's new tab and open tab, and it will be already allocated or selected on the new. In this case, it's showing you and asking you, do you need a blank workbook or do you need to take a tour? It's like welcoming to Excel tour, showing you all the tabs and ribbons, pretty much what we're doing right now. Then you have templates here, depending on what kind of project you want to do with Excel. Then you can go through those templates as we will show you and choose the best template for you. These templates are useful if you are having a function specific sheet, but if you need to have a customized sheet and go from zero, then you can start with a blank workbook and work your way out as design and as data input as well. Then you can see we have here account, all the information about your account and licensing and so on. There's a feedback if you would like to rate the Excel program as a feedback to Microsoft, and there's options that we talked about a little bit before where you can flip through those options and see what worked for you, as we will cover as moving forward. Now when you open a blank sheet, that's what you will see. So you can see here you have autosave if you want the app to be saving by itself. I don't recommend that if you're working on something important, because maybe you are trying something out but he already saved it, then most likely you can't go back to what you did previously because there's a limitation to do and undo. But we don't want to have more extra step to you and confuse you if this is the first time you look at Excel. So you have autosave here, or you have the manual save that we know from Excel 2007 and Excel 2010. We're very familiar with the save icon in here. Then you have undo and redo options, and you have the name of your sheet. In this way it will be by default named as book 1. Then there will be your name in here and maybe your icon or your profile picture, and you have the share option here. You have minimize, maximize and exit. Remember, when you click on exit, he will ask you, do you want to save or no, or you want to cancel if you click accidentally on the X. Then you have here the file menu button. You have the quick access toolbar above it. So what we just mentioned was the access toolbar. Then you have the ribbon tabs in here, and those icons belong to the ribbon tab that we see up here. Then you have your formula bar. That's where you write your formulas as you are building up your worksheet. So in file, if you click on it, we will see what kind of options you get, but that's the file menu where you can save as your document if you want to save it in a certain place on your computer. Then you have your home where you can do cut, copy and paste and so on. You can control what kind of font you're using as you're typing through the cells, what's the size of the font, increasing the size of the font and decreasing the size of the font as well can be used here, or you pick up the exact size that you want from those numbers. You have the bold, you have the italic, styles and understroke and so on. Then you have what color of text you're using. You can click on this little arrow on pull down menu and choose the color that you would love. And you have the filling option, what kind of color you want to fill for a certain area that you highlighted. And if you want to create a kind of borders for your table, then you can choose what kind of borders you want for the specific cells that you already allocated and used. And here we have like the text management tools where you can put the text centered or bias to the left, bias to the right, and you can have rotated text and linear text, vertical, horizontal text, and so on, starting from left, starting from right, or merging cells. And you can choose what kind of number units or numbers format you're using, conditional formatting, editing, cells, and so on. So when you click on home, you get a certain options in here. When you click insert, those options will be belonging to insert. Click draw, page layout, and formulas, and so on. You will have the options related to that. If you want to pull up those options, you don't want to see them, then you click on this little arrow, it will pull it up for you. It's like hidden, but if you double click on home or on insert, then it will show up again. And of course you have always the options in view to hide the formula bar and to hide those the way the ribbon tabs are being represented for a better visuals for you while working. And here you have the worksheet area. That's where you plug in, you use the cells you're using from column A and row 1. That's A1 in here, and that's B1, C1, D1, and so on. So that's the area where you plug in your data. That's the area where you create your tables, you create your designs, and so on. And down here we have the status bar that we will talk about in details in a minute. Here you have the sheet. Here you call this sheet sheet 1, and you call the file as book 1. So don't be confused. Inside, so in this case, inside book 1, you have a sheet called sheet 1. If I click on this plus tab, then I can create sheet 2, sheet 3, sheet 4, as many sheets as I want. I can right click on sheet 1 and rename it and give it whatever name I want. There's a limitation on how long the name of the tab is, but you can choose that. You can change the color of the sheet, as we will learn moving forward. So again, the home tab here, that's where the tab ribbons in here, that's where you choose which ribbon you want. In this way, we need the home tab. We have the command button here, and we have the alignment group. We have the dialog box launcher, and you have the ribbon display options up here, and you can collapse the ribbon as we mentioned previously. So what does the home, insert, page layout, formulas, data, review, and view do exactly? So the home, you can use the tab to create and format and edit the spreadsheet, and you can find all your clipboards, related settings, font, alignment, numbers and styles, cells, and editing groups, all in the home tab. For insert tab, you use it when you want to add particular element, which includes graphics, pivot tables, charts, hyperlinks, headers, and footers to the spreadsheet. For the page layout, you use it to prepare a spreadsheet for printing or recording the graphics on your sheet. Formulas, you can use it to add your formulas and the way they behave from one cell to another, and in the exact same cell, how does it handle the numbers and inputs and so on. Review, in this tab, you can use it for proofing, protecting, and marking up your spreadsheet. And view, you can use it to change the way the display is showing the worksheet areas that are containing the data, how to show, how to zoom, and to use macros and groups and so on. So the status bar can be found at the bottom of the screen when you open your spreadsheet. So mode indicators can say ready, it can say editing. So it's ready. That means you're ready to start typing the data in the cells of your choice. And if it's saying editing, that's the moment where while you're typing inside the cell, it will be saying enter, or it will be say editing. Here we have auto calculator. If you have a group of cells having numbers inside of them, if you highlight those cells, it will tell you what's the count of those cells, how many cells did you select, and what's the sum of those cells, what's the average, and so on. Then you have the layout, how does the data being displayed in front of you. Then you have the zoom slider. If you want to zoom into the sheet or the data more, then you can use the zoom slider. Either you hold it and zoom, or you can click the plus and minus sign. So as we said, you double clicked on Excel shortcut, or you started your Excel program, you get those choices. Then you get new blank workbook. In this case, if I double click it, then it will open for me a blank workbook ready to work. Or I can scroll through my templates. There's hundreds of templates being provided by Microsoft in here for free that you can use. Either you want to have a year calendar, month calendar, you want to have household monthly budget, or you want to do a weekly schedule, you want to do home inventory, calculations, you want to do a sales invoice. I'm not a fan of those, but you can use them sometimes as a start point to deliver something visually appealing. And you can always search online for more free templates that meet your needs. Let's double click on our blank workbook. Now our blank workbook is open. As we said, there's autosave here. You can save right away the sheet from here. You have the undo, redo, and you have the tabs ribbon here, and you have the file tab in here. So if you click on file, you get home, new, open, info, save, print, share, export, publish. Then you have here the account information, and you have the options as we mentioned before. We don't care about whatever in file, we only care if we want to save the document. I can click on save as, then it will save it exactly where I want it to be. So in home you have cut, copy, format painter, you have paste. You can choose what kind of font you want to use for your document, and you can choose the size of the font. You can choose the writing to be in bold, italic, underscored, and if you want a certain area of the cells to be having borders, then you can choose what kind of borders you want, as you can see in here. The font color, right now the font color is black. If I click right here, then it's black. If I want it to be red, then I can choose the red. A, B, C, it's already in red. If I want to be bold, I will highlight this cell that I typed some data inside. Can click on B, it became bold. Can click on I, it will become italic or inclined. U, it will be underscored. If I want these two to be kind of a table style, then I can choose borders, all borders in this case, so you have borders for those data. If you want to increase or decrease the font size without playing with those numbers, then you can do that by clicking on capital A, the larger one, and you can click on the A with the lower arrow to reduce the size. What if I want the text to be centered in this cell? Then I click on the center in here, so it will align it in the center in here, and it will be centered vertically in here, and it will be centered horizontally in here. If you want it to the left, you can click on this, to the right you can click on this, and so on. Now this one is telling you you increase the indent, and here you can decrease the indent, which means how far is it from the edge before it starts typing. Wrap text, if your text is too big for the cell, then you can wrap it up so that it will be enclosed in the cell itself. You see, instead of being beyond the cell like this, you can click wrap a text, then it will be enclosed in that cell. Merge and center, what if we want to merge and center these three cells? This way I'll click merge and center. So this way, if I have two cells in here, I want to merge them, then I click merge cells and he will merge them into one cell. General, in here you can choose what kind of input you want to use as numbers, either regular numbers, general, currency, accounting, start date, short date, long date, time, and so on. Conditional formatting is advanced. We will not talk about it now. It's basically giving a certain color to the cell based on what kind of data inputs we have. You can delete a cell, you can insert a cell, or format a cell from here. You can delete the sheet, you can delete a row, insert a row. If you have a certain data that you want to have auto sum for them, if I have here 1, 2, and 3, and I want the sum to be here, I will highlight them. Auto sum, he gave you the total of them to be 6 in this case. You can see from the equation that he took the sum in blue from K3 to K5. He made the sum for them and put it in K6 as a total sum. You can choose fill, you can choose clear to clear the formats, you can sort from A to Z, you can find and select, and so on. For insert, you can create a regular table, you can create a pivot table, you can insert a picture from the device or from an online repository, you can insert a certain shape to meet your design needs. And what else? You can choose icons if you are doing a certain visuals for your program, then you click whatever icon you want that's provided by Microsoft, and you click insert, you can move this icon around and pull up the side of the square to reduce and increase the size of that icon. Back to insert, you have 3D models. As we mentioned before, if you want to implement some 3D designs that are ready from the online repositories, or you created yourself, you can add it here for explanations if it makes sense to put it with the data. You have smart art to represent processes. If you have a certain process, you have a cycle, hierarchy, relationship, matrix, pyramid, or a list, then you can double click of whatever design you want and use it inside your document. As you can see, you can add the text here as you need. So that could be handy depending on what you're doing with the program. And here you can add a chart, either a bar chart or a line chart or a circle or a pie chart, if you would say. You can add headers and footers. You can add a word art as in the Word documents. You can add equation, certain ready equation from here. You can see a group of equations being added by Microsoft, but to add your own equation, it will be making more sense like in the form of a Greek format, other than writing that A and B and C as you are typing a text. So it will make more sense to use the equation tab. Symbols, you know that from before that you can add those old symbols. I believe icons now are probably replacing the symbols, but maybe sometimes if you want to add degrees Celsius or Fahrenheit, maybe you still need the symbols. In draw, you can choose to draw with touch, erase, or draw with a certain input pen, or if you have a touch screen that you can write on it directly with a digital pen, then you can do that by choosing the color you want. Write, erase, or ink to shape if you want to draw a certain shape with ink. If you are trying to do a perfect triangle or rectangle in this case, then he will make it a great rectangle for you instead of having that as a handwritten unprofessional way. You can delete it as well. So finish with ink and shape. I can delete it as an object. You see here I have little dots that needs to be deleted. That's it for draw. You can play around with it when you have a chance. For page layout, you have margins. If you want to set the certain details for your margins, if you are writing for a certain printing properties, then you can use that. Orientation, do you want the page to be in portrait or a landscape mode? What size of document you want to be printed per page, then you can set it up here. Printing areas, creating breaks for chapters and stuff, changing the background, width and height and scale for the sheet can be changed here. Is the sheet right to left or left to right? Aligning certain shapes together can be done here. Formula, you can insert a function, you can do auto sum, we can do financial. Here we have a group of financial functions that you can use, logical functions, text, the end time, lookup and reference, math and trigonometry, and more functions, but you can type them in here. Let's try to say here equal, that's what we start with as equations in Excel. Let's say we need to have the sum, open parentheses. He say number 1, 2, 3, so he guide you. So you want to choose the cells that you want to have the sum for them. So the sum of those two cells in here, I click or I tap enter, then he give you the sum of those two cells of your choice. So it doesn't matter, you can choose any cell in the world, add the equation, and he will be able to give you the sum. You can call out for the cells that you want to have the sum for being shown in that exact cell. For data, as we said, it's for data handling. As data being more and more important these days, then there's an option to get data from file, from database, or from the Azure, which is an online SharePoint or an online Dropbox that people can put the data in and access it from anywhere in the world. You can have all online services depending on what you're doing. And CSV, many data are in CSV format. You can pull it up as CSV or text format from web, from table, recent sources and existing connections. Then you can apply filters, remove duplicates, creating one what if analysis, forecast sheet, all those details. Then review for reviewing, adding comments, and doing spelling check, smart lookup, translations. If you want to do secured sheet, in this case you can add the protected worksheet or protected workbook. And in view you can change the way things are viewed. So if you don't want the formula bar, you remove it from here, you don't see it anymore, or bring it back. Headings, do you need headings or no? It's up to you. Grid line, of course you need the grid line. Then you have the zoom option if you feel you need to zoom, or you can do it from a status bar down below. And you can add new window, freeze panes, many details. Down here we said by default when you open a blank sheet you have book 1 and you have sheet 1. You can add another sheet, you can add a third sheet, then you work on each one separately. So this sheet is different than sheet 2. Sheet 2 is blank, you can add whatever you want. And here I can, if I go back to sheet 1, I can zoom. If I need to zoom, I can zoom and unzoom on the data just to make my life easier to work with. And here you have the sum of the highlighted cells. If I highlight these, then the sum is 12. If I highlight only 6, if I highlight 3 and 6, give you 9. The count is 2, means how many cells did you select? 2. What's the average? Is 4.5, which is 3 plus 6 over 2. Then here you have the page layout. It's right now this form. You can make it this way based on the printing space, and you can add it to be this way, and he's highlighting for you the printing space to be here on this blue dotted line. But of course this is the most comfortable way to look at it. As you can see, after we switch between those layouts, we have a gray dotted line here showing you where's the printing area will be. So that's one page, that's second page, third page, fourth page, fifth page, and so on, just to give you a guide while you're doing your document. If you're planning on printing it out, then it makes sense to see where the borders are, to make it as a printable sheet and easy to be handled through printing services.